order of merit. And once there is a vacancy, we will call out the number on the standby list one after the other. So you'll have standby 1 and standby 2, and that is it. So we begin with the first one. I would like to invite Professor Manjari Rai to please come over and pick up the slip and announce the name of the first presenter. I have with me two coordinators, eminent personalities from the education of architecture, who are with me to help me and be with me throughout the day for the carrying out of this program. I have Professor Amit Hajela from the School of Planning and Architecture, New Delhi, and I have Dr. Rama Subramaniam, who's heading the Dayanand Sagar College of Architecture in Bangalore. Both of them are members of the COA Awards Committee. Rama ma'am, may I request you to please bring the slips for the architectural project category. So we have 5 slips here, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And Manjari ma'am will pick up one slip and announce the name of the first presenter.
Okay, so the first presenter would be the designer of Eco Interactive Nexus, fusing sustainable workspaces with eco-sensitive waterfront. AEATAP 24102.
Great. So we have the first participant here already. We have about 30 minutes before we actually begin your presentation. In the meantime, please check up your PPT and see that it is in order. We would be picking up these one after the other. The reason is that we want to give every participant an equal amount of time to prepare himself or herself. I know you're all prepared with what you want to say and how you want to express, but this is the last minute chance that you have to brush up whatever you want to say. So 30 minutes, we will go into a formal little function now before we begin with his presentation. And before he begins his presentation, we will pick up the slip for the second presenter. I hope you're all aware of the rules of the program. Each participant will be given exactly 15 minutes to present himself or herself. At the end of 10 minutes, there will be a short buzzer. At the end of 13 minutes, there will be a longer buzzer. And at the end of 15 minutes, there will be a long bell which says that, okay, you will no longer speak, and there will be only the slides which can be run on screen. In case you have not finished your presentation, you can silently run through the slides and just allow the jurors to go back to any of the slides that they may want to talk to you about. After the 15 minutes of presentation is over, then we move on to the jury members, and they will be interacting with the presenter for the next 15 minutes, and we have a couple of minutes for questions from the audience. So that takes us to the completion of one presentation of the selected participant. Please note that 15 minutes is a very short period where you have to explain the work that you have done over a period of maybe 1 year and 1.5 years. So please be very crisp. Don't waste too much time on what you've learned from, or what are the case studies that you have not done, or anything like that. Please focus on your learnings only from the case studies and go on to the process of your design and go on to explain your design. Be aware of the clock, so don't waste any time on that. I think with that I'm done. Would you like to add anything? Okay. So just in a few minutes, we have 2 jury members here already. The third one is also with us. So in a few minutes, we shall be beginning.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I would like to request Muskan Arora and Sandali Rathor to be on the stage, please. Sandali Rathor.
Good morning, esteemed guests, dignitaries, and students. Welcome to the day 3 of Guleri 3.0, being hosted by FPA Poornima University, Jaipur, and COA National Awards for Excellence in Architectural Thesis 2024, JK AYA Best Architecture Student of the Year Award 2024, and Students Award for Excellence in Documentation of Architectural Heritage 2024. Today marks the day of the verdict, where final year students will present their thesis before the jury for evaluation.
Chalo. So without any further ado, let me introduce you to our jury members. Dr. Tanushri Mokre Kamble is a highly accomplished scholar who has earned her undergraduate, postgraduate, and doctoral degrees from the prestigious Viveswarya National Institute of Technology, VNIT at Nagpur. Throughout her academic journey, she has demonstrated exceptional dedication and excellence, receiving recognition with numerous awards from the Institute of National Repute. Notable among these accolades are the Academic Excellence Award, Architect Bharat Yam Sanvar Award, and the highest CGPA award, all of which reflect her outstanding achievements in the field journals. Currently, she is working as an associate professor at Institute of Architecture and Planning, Nirma University, Ahmedabad. I would like to invite Professor Manjari Rai, Dean, Faculty of Planning and Architecture, Poornima University, to felicitate Dr. Tanushri Kamble, Associate Professor at Institute of Architecture and Planning, Nirma University, Ahmedabad.
Thank you, ma'am. Architect Veepa Jariwala is the founder and principal architect of Space Art Studio. She earned her bachelor's degree in architecture from VRCE Nagpur 1995 to 2000 and her master's degree in urban design from CEPT Ahmedabad 2001 to 2002. As an associate professor at Ideas Nagpur, Ms. Jariwala has been shaping architectural education for over 12 years. She specializes in a wide range of subjects, including history of architecture, building services, theory of architecture, and urban design. Her teaching philosophy emphasizes the exploration of cultural, historical, and social influences in architecture. Through her mentorship in design studios and urban design, she encourages students to develop a profound understanding of cultural narratives, guiding them to create thoughtful and contextually relevant architectural designs. I would like to invite Architect Neeti Khanna, Associate Professor, Faculty of Planning and Architecture, Poornima University, to felicitate Architect Veepa Jariwala, Associate Professor at Ideas, Nagpur, with a floral welcome.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Professor Anand Krishnamurthy studied architecture at MCE Hassan 1984 to 89 and his master's program in urban design at School of Architecture, CEPT, Ahmedabad 1990 to 92. Professor Krishnamurthy established the design firm Terra in 1999 along with Ms. Suchitra Deep. The firm worked on projects ranging from single residences, apartments, showrooms, offices, factories, laboratories, commercial and institutional buildings. Anand sir is a founder member of MASA, Design Matters, which is an active design forum with Bangalore's architectural community. He is also the founder member of Design Foster, Design Foundation for Study, Education and Research, a trust that sets up an architecture undergrad school called Wadia Center for Architecture at Mysore, India in 2015. He is the past director and presently professor and principal in charge of the school. I would like to invite Architect Sandeep Kumar, Associate Professor, Faculty of Planning and Architecture, Poornima University, to felicitate Professor Anand Krishnamurthy, Principal in Charge, Wadia Center for Architecture, Mysore, with a floral welcome.
Thank you, sir. It is an honor to introduce the COA coordinators of the award. Architect Jayashree Deshpande is an architect, sociologist, and educator based in Pune, India, at the University of Pune, a topper at the undergraduate level in architecture and a master's degree holder in sociology. Jayashree ma'am is the recipient of several awards and scholarships. She has been involved in teaching for more than 3 decades and has guided numerous students at the undergraduate and postgraduate levels in architecture. She has been the chairperson and member of the Executive Committee of Indian Institute of Architects, Pune Center, and is a member of national and international bodies. I would like to invite Architect Mukul Swami, Assistant Professor, Faculty of Planning and Architecture, Poornima University, to felicitate Architect Jayashree Deshpande with a floral welcome.
Dr. Rama R. Subramaniam is the principal of Dayanand Sagar College of Architecture, Bangalore, with expertise in urban planning, conservation, habitat studies, design theory, and sustainable design. Holding a B.Arch, MH, and PhD, he has significantly contributed to the architectural education through numerous workshops and continuing education programs. As a research guide and examiner for doctoral thesis, he is actively involved in government research projects and has published extensively in journals and conferences. A fellow of Indian Institute of Architects, Institute of Town Planners, and Institute of Valuers, Dr. Subramaniam has served on academic boards including VTU, SPA, New Delhi, and Acharya Nagarjuna University. In recognition of his contributions, he received the Best Teacher Award from the Practicing Architects Association in 2009. He continues to mentor research at Dayanand Sagar College of Architecture and VTU's Regional Research Center. I would like to invite architect Shrishti Singh, Assistant Professor, Faculty of Planning and Architecture, Poornima University, to felicitate Dr. Rama R.S., Principal at Dayanand Sagar of College of Architecture, Bangalore, with a floral welcome.
Thank you, ma'am. Professor Amit Hajela is a renowned architect and urban designer with over 33 years of professional experience in architecture, interior, and urban design, having successfully completed more than 130 projects. An IGBC accredited faculty member and fellow of both the Indian Institute of Art, I would like to invite architect Sobha.
Good morning, everyone. Before we commence the first presentation, may I request Architect Sanbul to pick the second presenter. Please come. So the second presenter also gets a lead time to prepare. So I request Madam to pick the second presenter.
AEATAP 24109 Daute's Peninsula Abysses, a journey of entombment and transformation.
Yes, that is AEATAP 24109. Is the presenter here? Dante's Penitential Abyss, an interesting title. Is the presenter here? So put that aside. Yeah. In which case, we pick one more. Second time lucky.
AEATAP 24101 Renewal Oasis Rehabilitation Center of Rescued Sex Workers.
Nagpur is a very culturally diverse city situated in center of the country. The main project vision was to promote employee wellness, sustainability, like promote sustainable building practices and biodiversity preservation. So my dissertation was mainly on employee wellness and productivity in office spaces. So a workspace includes innovation, collaboration, productivity, and a sustainable design to promote mental well-being, physical well-being, and productivity. Followed by surveys. I continued my thesis over it. So the site is situated in Mihan. I continued my thesis over it. So the site is situated in Mihan, which is a special economic zone based in Nagpur. The site is allocated to Tech Mahindra. So the phase one of the site, phase one of the project begins with offsetting a 50-meter setback from the lake, which is situated in center of the site. Doing the climatic analysis, the site approach. The temperature in Nagpur remains as high as 45 degrees in summer with nominal humidity 1024 mm of annual rainfall. So going forward with north-south orientation of the building, I chose 18-meter grid size of the span of the building. Doing the climatic analysis, the PMV PVT charts. As per the requirements given by Tech Mahindra, I made a organizational chart, converted it into the relationship diagram. The main focus areas of my research were building construction technology, reducing embodied energy with precast technology, then focusing on building facades for sustainability, intelligent facades, parking facilities. So mostly in Nagpur, 42.6% people commute by two-wheelers, and I have tried to increase the demand of public infrastructure and transport. The parking that I have proposed is a puzzle parking, puzzle stack parking. So the site is was well known for bird watching, which has reduced substantially in recent years. So to promote it and to conserve the site, I have proceeded with my design. So this is the site, the phase one, as you can see in orange color. 2.5 was the FSI and site area 75,000 square meter. The main strengths of the site were wind, views of the lake, natural gradient, and plantation. Going with the design, mainly IIT spaces require most internal community and community spaces with interconnected departments. So coming forward with orientation, I chose a honeybee structure form, which is hexagonally squeezed on north-south alignment to increase view, radiation analysis, and shadow analysis. And the massing mainly caters from the ground level to the natural gradient. In the natural gradient, the parking and shops are being proposed, and on the podium level, the office is separated from the public realm. So the site is currently used by public to for mostly recreational activities. So a differentiation was created in the private spaces, which was the office, which is on the podium level, but same level from the road, and the lake and the lower level is connected for the public realm. Going forward with the basement plan, mostly shuttle services have been provided to promote public infrastructure and transport, and on the lower level, the site also has shops and recreational spaces which are supported by the services. So coming towards resource management, the underground heat exchange system has been proposed to facilitate the VRV system, and the courtyards as in Nagpur, Vadas used to be there as vernacular elements, so that the evaporative cooling can facilitate. And I have tried to increase as much as wind flow and connectivity into the building. So this is the final site plan. On the lower level, you can see there is the public realm and shops and public facilities, and on the podium level, the office is completely separated. These are the floor plans and divided according to the departments. This is the isometric view in which you can easily see the lower level, which is connected with the waterfront. The biodiversity has been preserved, and on the upper level, the office is well ventilated. There is 100% view to each and every desk, and the courtyards are well ventilated with the natural airflow. These were the physical models. There were 6 orientation of facades, so each facade was designed likewise. The west facades were made with corrugated aluminum sheets, so that complete blockage of sunlight after 3 am can be done. So this was the facade analysis for all the 6 facades. Mainly as I wanted to come up with a modular design, I used precast structure with 10.5 to 11 meters of grid, which can for the parking efficiency and allowing 4 cars to be parked with a balanced moment of 3.25 meters. So sustainability highlights: target population was 35,000 employees. Ground coverage is kept less than 40. Native trees 33% have been preserved. Less than 45 kilowatt hours of EPI has been achieved, and floor plate daylit. 90% of the spaces are naturally daylit. The site produces 4 times the electricity required, and about 8 crore liters of catchment water just from the site, not from the lake, has been preserved. So if I cut a section through a nominal section from the building, you can see the parking with the shuttle services and shops and services working likewise with the heat sink. So EPI has been reduced by 77%. I have focused on zero energy, zero water, and zero waste on the site. The indoor environment quality was very crucial, and I have tried to increase efficiency and daylighting for each and every desk. Mainly VRV system has been used. The climatic conditions favor that winters can be sustained with the natural wind. So I have created a seasonal VRV system in which in summers you can use the VRV system, and in winters just the blowers can work with the ventilation from the windows. So 18-meter span, 100% daylit spaces with 0.3 watt per square foot of efficiency LED daylighting. Building morphology, conventional buildings use 150 to 200 square foot per ton of HVAC load, which we have reduced to 500 square foot per ton. So these are some of the renders of the courtyard. The public spaces, recreational spaces, reception space, meeting area, the public realm and OAT on the ghats in the lake, the shopping plaza on the lower level. Thank you.
Hello, good morning.
Hi, ma'am.
My question to you is that you have taken a stakeholder as Tech Mahindra,
Yes, ma'am.
and with their pointers that they have given as productivity and mental wellness.
Yes, ma'am.
So what is it that they had defined, and you have considered only those definition, or you have added something through some literature or case studies to enhance your design?
Ma'am, Tech Mahindra has been focusing on Tech X. It's a new concept by which they are working on the future of the company. They have incorporated zero waste, zero energy, and zero waste into the design. Through my the dissertation, I have added some important points like employee wellness, which was not particularly addressed in their yearly report. So from the dissertation itself, I have included those pointers like natural daylight, biophilic design, which were added afterwards.
Okay, so what kind of case studies have you done for it, or maybe some other kind of literature which were not there listed in their in the Tech Mahindra thing, and you have taken up?
Yes, ma'am. So the case studies I did is Apple Park in California, the Infosys office in Mihan itself. These are two of the main case studies, and three other case studies I have done. One was Google Park in Google office in California itself.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello, ma'am.
Let me appreciate your work and that you're shortlisted. My question is, when you're talking about sustainability, we are also talking about or addressing the services.
Yes, ma'am.
And the generation of grey water or the generation of waste on site.
Yes.
You've addressed the facade and you've addressed the daylight, right?
Yes.
But I cannot see, because that's a very important component. You just addressed it.
Yes, ma'am.
Meaning even when I'm looking at your drawings, I do not see any attempt towards addressing this issue.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am, I'll address it. So, as you can see in the part exploded, the cores are connected on the lower level with the service which I have given in basement. So the red line, as you can see, is connected with the core. ये कनेक्ट करना है. अच्छा ठीक. Yes, ma'am. So the red line, as you can see, is connected with the core, and it also acts as the shuttle like route as well as the service route. And like there were some company for policies that they include so that the waste can be reduced, and if the waste need to be serviced, this is the service lane which I have given, which is attached to the core and the services, these cores.
Congratulations for having been
Thank you so much.
shortlisted. I have a couple of things which I'll put forward. Yours is a binary sort of idea where you're looking at eco-sensitive waterfront and sustainable design.
Yes.
Two things. I did not see anything to do with the waterfront. It's
Yes.
there, right, in front of your building.
Yes.
But there has been no attempt to do anything beyond that. That's my first question. Second is efficiency of the floor plate.
Okay.
So when I see your floor plates, you have got the workstations or the working capacities in the center, but there are lots of spaces which has not been detailed out in terms of services, in terms of circulation, fire access. I understand, I read in your drawing that you had looked at fire. But I would like to know how you worked out the floor plates.
Okay.
Though your compositional stance is legible, I do think you have a very modern building. What is your, have you ever thought that this work that you're doing on sustainable design should have any Indianness in it? Because it's a modern building, it can work in Toronto, it can work in any other place. You're working in Nagpur. So was there any attempt to make it, contextually referred to Nagpur?
Okay. So I will address the first question. So the waterfront was left alone and undisturbed by the activities happening on site. So because of that, I have left a 50-meter margin from the lake, not disturbing any aquatic life or the birds. I have tried to shift my build form away from the lake. So that was the first like design intervention. Secondly, the like 45 meters of like fire tender was required between the cores. So I have tried to follow like that center line over the between the core to core, so that the fire gets very well addressed. If I can show the floor plans. So I have tried to achieve 95% of the floor efficiency, reducing the area of core, and the reception areas have also been placed in the core itself, so that one person gets out of the lift, enters into the reception, and goes into his or her department. So I have tried to maximize the floor plate efficiency, and on the node where there is not a core, there is a collaborative space. For the third question, so I have tried to implement the vernacular features, but elementally or like design elements I have not given into the design, but I have tried to address the vernacular properties that Nagpur address into the design.
I'm sorry, I have two more things to ask you.
Yes.
One is, you said about the floor efficiency.
Yes.
Your floors are very linear.
Yes.
For an office space, linearity doesn't work because the circulation triplicates. The efficiency works when you spread your flow plate around a larger plate, so your circulation can be reduced. Otherwise, there are multiple, levels of circulation that gets added on. That's one thing. Second, last question is, all the water that you're capturing.
Yes.
Hello, all the water that you're capturing, what are you doing with it?
So the water that has been captured into the site apart from the lake is being used for irrigation work, and also underground heat exchange system uses that same water, and 70% of water is going back into the groundwater. So only 30% of water is being utilized into the site again.
It cannot go into the groundwater. The ground is already flush with water in front of you. So the ground is not going to accept that water.
Okay.
I just wanted.
I did not get back to you on sustainable services. I thought just putting up a red line would not help. You have to show, whatever treatment you're having it on site, how you're using the grey water. So that kind of process should have been existing.
Does the audience have any questions? Any audience questions? Audience is welcome to ask questions too. Other participants, anyone? Faculty from other colleges, same college, all are welcome to ask questions. Sure, I guess your explanation was quite elaborate. We'll move on to the next presentation. Good morning, Pushpak sir. I would request Architect Pushpak Pandit to pick the third presenter.
It's an honor.
This is the whole number, and then this is the date.
The number is AEA TAP.
AE80AP.
Okay, AE80AP 24125. Premoday, Learning Center for Artistic Individuals. Thank you.
A big round of applause for the participant. Thank you. Thank you, Professor.
Should I start? Good morning to all respected judges and everyone present here. So my topic is...
Yes, we are now here to listen to AE80AP 24101, Renewal Oasis, Rehabilitation Center of Rescued Sex Workers, Sonapur, Assam.
So good morning.
Your time starts now.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Good morning to all once again. So my thesis topic, as you all know, it is a renewable oasis, which is a rehabilitation center for the rescued sex workers. So commencing with a brief background. So this all starts with human trafficking, which is a modern form of slavery, illegal and exploitative human trade, forced to do things against their will. So for example, we can take the example of Howrah station in Kolkata. It has a daily footfall of around 10 lakh people, and there are individuals called pimps who look for children and women who are scared, alone, or may have missed their trains. So this people are taken into prey through fake job opportunities, then affairs, kidnapping, etc. And then this missing children and women are involved in begging, drug selling, forced marriages, and widely into prostitution. So We can see through this graph, like according to this illustration, like there are almost 45% of the are victims of human trafficking, then 20 are children of sex workers, like a second generation prostitution, then 25% are because of poverty, and then 6 are volunteeringly into this, and 75 to 80 are above 18 years of age, and then 25% are minors into this. And for the male-female ratio, we have around 90% of the victims are women. So why does one enters into this sex trade? Like there are various reasons into this, but like I have already explained through this. But my main focus group would be individuals who are not willingly into this job and who wants to come out of this and have a different life full of empowerment and so on. So moving on to the next slide, these are some of the case studies. Like I did some offline case studies for in order to learn about different user groups for the women, children, and also HIV is a great like important part into this. So these are some of the case studies through which I have learned that there are different skill development trainings into this project, so that they can empower them and help them to learn different activities in order to earn. Then all of these projects are based into an outskirt area full of greenery with nature and everything in order to heal them. So these are my understanding from the case studies. Like I have tried to categorize different, like connect different design strategies with health outcomes. How having an access to daylight would reduce pain, improve the patient's sleep, and so on and so forth. And these are some of the activities which I have categorized into healing and empowerment. And like HIV would be playing an important role in this project. Like there is a thing that HIV spreads very like from human to human, but it is also important to know that it is only passed through bodily fluids, so it cannot flow through mosquito bites, social kisses, sharing toilets, and etc. And there is a treatment for this, which is antiretroviral therapy, which are medications for these individuals. Like we can see through this pictorial image, like a person without HIV, for example, stays for around 67 years of age, but a person with HIV taking those medication would have an age span of around 54 years, but person without an HIV treatment would only have a lifespan of 32 years, for example. So having those treatment is very important for all of them. And these are the same case studies, and these are some of the pictures of this first case study, which is Gold NGO, Shakti Sadan. Then this is my second case study for the children, which is Assam Shishu Kalyan Sadan. And it was very nicely zoned into different public-private zones. And then this is the state home, which had also different categories for recreational areas and healing and environment. And this is a Motion NGO, which was an HIV care center for the female sex workers. Then this is a case study from Tanzania. In this case study, they also have widely talked about their cultural impact into this. And then this is a rescue foundation in Boisa. This particular project is only based for female sex worker. All the other projects have common user groups like female sex worker, domestic violence, individual rape victims, and everything. And then this is my focus group for like the user group for the project. I have mainly focused on the victims of human trafficking, then children of sex workers in order to avoid the second generation prostitution, and then commercially exploited sex worker who doesn't want to continue into this profession anymore. And these are some of the programs which are categorized based on those like the user groups. So these programs are included in my project. Then I have tried to like use my project through these two categories, like for healing and empowerment, in order to provide them with a holistic life. So there are different activities in order to help them heal and empower. And these are some of the therapies that, according to my research, are needed for them. And this is a capacity and the built-up area calculation. And these are the zoning areas. Then this is my site is located in Sonapur, Assam, and it has a nearby hospital, HIV care center. Also, the transportation is quite close to it for the individuals. Like, it has public transport areas nearby. So the site is located in a lush greenery area away from city hustle and bustle, and it has an existing pond, and a canal is passing through the middle of the site, and there is a noise source going towards the site through the highway. And these are some of the pictures from the site. The climate is humid and subtropical climate. It has quite pretty rainfall around the site, and the site is quite lower than the other areas around it, so it might have a drainage problem accordingly. And my concept is sensory spectrum, which is a healing architecture which I have combined with the 4 senses in order to activate them and help them heal. So for the site, I have tried to incorporate different colorful trees in order to help them bring a tranquility and for the victims through connecting, by connecting with the nature. And for the sound, I have tried to incorporate a bell garden into the site. Like the bell we see in temples, it has a scientific reason. Like the sense of sound, it has a vibration of around 10 seconds when we ring it. So when we stand below it, it helps our brain to get connects both our right and left side of the brain and activates the mind's concentration. And then a musical garden which would have a morning, evening and night zone for different musical activities. And a dhuna ghar, which we usually do in the evening at our homes for a mental peace. So this would be incorporated in the site in order to spread positivity. And then hierarchy of different spaces in order to have women and children interacted and so on. And I have used hexagon in 2 of my buildings in order to help them transition. Like hexagon is known for the transitional shape. And this is a illustration how the journey would be for the individuals. So firstly, when they come, they are scared and troubled. So we would provide them with private space, education and counseling, and then they are stabilized. Then we would help them find jobs, hobby development, and allow them to meet their visitors and family members. And then they would secure confidence, and then public interaction, general awareness, and finally they are reinvented and prepared for the society. This is the privacy zoning for the site. The pink one is my private zone. Then the yellow one in the center is a semi-public zone, and then the last one would be the private zone. And the transition happens from the private access to the public access. And this is a built-up zoning for the same. So at the starting, we have a market and a cafe zone for the individual to interact with the society. This would be run by the victims only. Then we have a guest house, healthcare area, admin block at the public zone, then vocational training school, and so on. So this is my site plan. So we enter from this part of the site for the public and the office working people for the admin and the healthcare block. And Then this is a secondary entry for the victims, like they would be brought here by an ambulance or a police vehicle. So we have a separate entry for them in order to keep them private and away from the public eye. So they enter here, then here is the healthcare unit. So I have created a buffer in center so that the victims already in the house would be also there and the new ones would also come there, so that they can merge into it. And like when they come, they're really scared and delicate. So in order to help them open up, this is the part. So they enter here and then they go after their HIV checkup, counseling and everything, they are sent to their residential area at this part. And at this point we have a graffiti wall for the it is a graffiti wall for the survivors. Like we would have a storytelling here through the graffiti, so that people also knows about this story and everything, and people are aware about it. We enter here, this is the exhibition area, this is the guest house for the parents and victims' relatives. Then this is a exhibition area, and here is the bell garden. And this one is a school for children, and this is a vocational training block. And here is the meditation area, as this is a little higher than the other part of the site. And then here we have the women's residential area. This is a staff quarter, and these are the children's accommodation block. Then I have used this channel and connected it with the water body and created a overhead bridge in order to, so that they can have a view from it and also have an access to other part of the site, which is this part is an organic garden, which is really helpful for their healing. And then this is a sensory park for the children's, and we can have boating and other access through this water body. And here is a couch shed for animal affection, and they can also sell these products into this marketing area. And this is the vocational training block. We enter here, then we have cutting and tailoring and other activities like doll making, cooking, martial arts and everything. And this is the school block with Sarva Siksha and other programs. Then all the musical classes, dancing, painting, and then conference hall, computer classes. And this is a meditation and yoga hall for them, so that this one has a skylight above it, and this one is open to the sky with a water feature, but pre-delivery and post-delivery wards are here, regular checkup block. And this is the site service plan. So the blue one are the rainwater channels, like rainwater filtration tank here, and then the red ones are the fire hydrant, and the blue dot we can see all around the side. These are the water supply to the areas. And then we have the inspection chamber and septic tank from all the buildings, and a I have designed such that
Roll through.
From the starting.
No. The remaining slides you can scroll.
It's done.
Over to the jury.
Sir, it's done. That was the last slide.
Okay, so appreciations for taking such a sensitive topic and shortlisting. A question on your site. You have a very beautiful landform in its contours, in the way the trees are placed. What I think is, meaning addressing that site in its natural form, I think is amiss, and the way you've placed the block is too strict in its geometry, right? In the healing, when you talk to people who've come from a very traumatic situation, so we're trying to heal. Here in your campus, if I see, so it's a very distinct, yahan raho, yahan kaam karo, yahan meditation karo. To pull them from one place to other place is also a major. what if we can integrate these healing spaces amongst where they are living, working? So even the sound of the bell is still there when you're working or when you're living, you know. So it is a natural healing process that's happening subconsciously. You don't have to go to a place to heal. You're healing. So I think it could have been more integrated with the natural environment. It was so beautiful there and with spaces that you have designed. Can you throw more light on that?
Ma'am, according to what you have said, like the center part, all the buildings have courtyard inside it in order to help them connect with the nature. And the accommodation block has the green part we can see in the middle. So this is a musical garden for their healing. So it would have musical senses in order to heal them. Like I have tried to incorporate elements of healing in all the parts of the site. So like this bell garden, we have a specific bell garden here, but all the surrounding trees would have bells in it, like that. And then at this lower part of the site, we have cultivation and everything. So that would help them heal, sensory garden. So like different elements of healing are at every part of the site.
So what if you have the farming activity happening behind, you know? It's very meditative, right? I agree.
Yes,
but if it's just outside my house, I can just, you know, in the morning wake up, you know, do some farming, listen to the sound of the bells.
Yes, ma'am. But like for their security purpose, like this accommodation block is gated in order to help them. Like they are very suicidal. They have thoughts of suicide and everything. So we have tried to gate this part of the accommodation area, and we have small pockets of herbal garden like the kitchen garden area, but a proper organic farm is at the other part of the site, because this would need a larger area for cultivation.
The contour?
Ma'am, the site doesn't have much contour. Like this, the lower part of the site is just undulating, and the like the meditation one is a little higher, just that.
Congratulations for being shortlisted. I have a couple of issues. I'll list it out. You're working in Assam.
Yes, sir.
I have a problem because you've not discussed anything about Assam, the weather, the rain. Again, the site could be in Italy, it could be in Bangalore, anywhere. So when you are looking at the contextual reference, when you said I've taken a site in Assam,
yes,
why not next to your house? You took it in Assam because of certain reasons. That needs to be reflected in the way that you have designed this project. One. Second is, I will also take off from where she has left out. Functionality of the appearances are all rigid forms, right? You're working with geometry, you're working with hexagons, you're working with circles. Some of them don't really work. When you're working with hexagons and you see some of those spaces, just doesn't work because you hit corners, right? I have my issues with working with some of these geometries. The personality inside needs to take over, right? Because these are people who are affected and they would like healing in a particular way. As much as she also said, the edges needs to be blurred. You can't independently say, this is for these people, that's for that, that's for that. That becomes more like a penitentiary, a prison-like atmosphere. That, you know, the kids are kept separately, the women are kept separately. I understand that they are also affected and they have suicidal tendencies, etc. But you are there for their healing. So the healing should happen in a way that when they are together with other people, with children, etc., I think the healing sort of works better than keeping them in compounded entities, right? So I think functionality is affected in some sense. I have no questions for you, but these are my observations.
Okay, sir. Sir, like addressing the first one, Like I have tried to incorporate all Assam type houses in order to make them feel at home. So Assam type slant roofing, then materials based like the one we use there. So that would also cater the climatic needs of Assam. And the second thing, according to the planning, I have tried to use most of the edges and corners in my plan. But about the rigidity, I have tried to incorporate most of the nature into the building so that they can feel inside out. Yes, sir. Like open. Okay. Okay, sir.
Yeah, congratulations on being shortlisted. Uh, One of my question is that how long do you expect these people to stay here because it's a rehab? So do you arrive at the capacity is one. Second is kind of safety I would ask because these people do have suicidal tendency. So in Mukta and all you have seen that there is one entry, one exit, and then you get all the freedom inside. The third I want to ask is you have elaborately told about what are the aspects that you are considering while healing in the open space. But what is it that you have taken in consideration for the built spaces?
So for the built spaces, like I have followed the concept of inside out in all my buildings, as I said. Then for the capacity, like according to my case studies, I have compared all of them and tried to come up with a single number. For the capacity, I have tried to incorporate a capacity of 200 users. So for that, my site area is 50 acres, like so on. According to different case studies, all this I have tried to calculate it here. This is my case study analysis. It has 14% built up, then water body and open space, and so on. So my average was 21% built and then 14.5% water body and open space. So I was catering for 200 user groups as according to my survey with that HIV care center. They told me like they had around 350 user groups as of now. So my will was to consider for 200 user group. So accordingly, it was 50 acres, the site.
So taking that forward, if this site is in Assam, then the skill building activities would be related to the local conditions.
Yes.
So if it is situated somewhere else, how and what would change here?
We have certain similar skill building activities that can be taken anywhere, like any place of the world, but we have certain traditional cooking skills or any other skill like making clothes and everything that can be according to that particular location. And for Assam, I have tried to incorporate the traditions of it.
Thank you.
Questions from audience? Any questions?
AE80AP 24127. I repeat, AE80 AP 24127. You are here? Please come. The title of the project is Redevelopment of Prayagraj Railway Station.
A big round of applause for the next presenter.
Good morning to all jury members. So I am here to present my project, my thesis project Premodaya, a learning center for autistic individuals, which is a nourishing space designed with love and understanding of autistic individuals.
I request the timekeepers to please halt the time.
Okay.
Yes, please go ahead.
So talking about the introduction of project, talking about autism. Autism is a developmental disorder caused by hormones, or either like its reason is not specified by scientists and doctors. So autism is a developmental disability caused by different differences in brains. First of all, why I have selected this topic. The topic focuses on a personal relationship with the autistic. My younger brother is autistic, so I have personal experience with autism. And the thesis aims to inspire the design and innovative learnings tailored like specified. I have seen autism from past 9 years. I am seeing it thoroughly. So I have worked like how my study can help my brother to overcome autism, and how architecture can help to overcome autism. Talking about the limitations. There are total 3 levels of autism. First is highly functional. Second is the person that needs 24/7 care. And third one is he can work, like he can go to school, he can go to any place, and needs a minor attention. So I have limited it to first and second level. The third level I have provided training for parents, so that parents can come to this center and get training like how to handle their children and how to treat autism. So here I have explained what is autism and what is it is not, and I have presented the 3 different levels and showed like what are my user groups in my site. So there are autistic individuals from age 3 to age 18 of adults, and I have provided accommodation facility for 25 to 30 autistic elders of age 18 to 30. So talking about the site, my site is located in Indore, and Indore is a smart city, and it is still developing. So this site is proposed by government of Bhopal, and I have I have capacity of 100 autistic individuals, adults, and 25 to 30 autistic adults with accommodation facility. My total site area is my total site area is 5.9 acres, and I have this is my site analysis, in which I have shown the design responses and what I can do with the site analysis I have shown here. So first of all, vegetation I have there are 64 trees in my site, and I have conserved all of them. And according to vegetation, I have shown these bubble diagrams. In these bubble diagrams, I have placed my bubbles where I can put my blocks. In second, I have shown how contours are coming in my site, and through this I have decided the entry and exits of the site. Second is circulation. My site is covered with my site is all covered with roads, so I have to decide the circulation, and I have a limitation that I have to give 2 entries, first for visitors and second for autistic individuals. So I have divided the entries in 2 parts. Third is noise, which is like autistic individuals are very sensitive to noise. Some of them are some of them are highly sensitive, and some of them are not sensitive. So I have divided it accordingly. I have give hyper and hypo classrooms separately, so that the students cannot get disturbed with noises. So my design concept is aspects. It is a guideline for autistic individuals it is a design guideline for autistic individuals. So aspects, its full form is autistics. So second is spatial sequencing. Third is escape spaces. Fourth one is complement planning, and fifth one is transition spaces, and sixth and seventh, the S stands for sensory planning, and fourth, then the S stands for safety. So this is my concept and zoning. I have divided different zones in the site. First is, this is the entrance of the site, and this is entrance for this entrance is for autistic individuals. So I have put this in a way that hyper and hypo schools are combined, but still separated by levels, and there is a transition space between them. This is the area statement. So this is my site plan. This entry is for visitors and the people that are working in admin block, and so the admin block is near to the entrance, and admin block is connected with diagnosis block and parents awareness block. Parents awareness block is a block in which parents get training, like how to train their children for being individuals. And the second entry, this entry is for autistic individuals that are coming on daily basis, and it is like connected to therapy block. Also, I have given a driveway so that the vehicle, like the school van or something, that can drop them in the drop-off point of both hyper and hypo schools, and there is a transition space between them. And I have given a vocational block. Also, I have given accommodation block for autistic individuals and a mess block facility. So this is my site plan, and there this is site plan at ground level. I have shown this, like how my building is going. So when we enter, the first thing in a autistic center is the parent want to know like what level of autism their child is having. So when they enter in a building, I have given them a block in which they can check, and then a diagnosis block in which they get treatment, like what are the different measures that they have to take and treat their child. And there is a counseling room in which they will tell that your child is level 1, level 2 or level 3 autism, and then they can decide like how to give training to them. So this autism does not have like normal school CBSE, so this does not have that. It has a individual plan. So each child have its own plan, and there are two students in which one teacher is assigned to a student. Then moving to next block, this is the awareness block, which is connected to the entrance for visitors and parents. Second block is hyper and hypoactive block, in which I have given 2 entrances and they are connected to each other by levels. I have given my hyper block in a lower ground level, so that they can get excited, like how I want to get to school, so they can run to the ramp and go to their school. So this is a different way of going to school. Second is the vocational block, in which they will get training, and fourth one is a hostel block. This is a hyper and hypo school block, in which I have given a total 4 number of classrooms in hypo block and 6 number of classrooms in hyper block, and which consist of a central courtyard which act as a interactive and open space for students, so that they can interact in a holistic manner. Then in my hyper block, I have given a human scale animals, so that if someone is passing by the road, so students and autistic individuals can see, and like they can like say that I want to go to this school, this is so playful and joyful. So I have given human scale sculptures and play areas. Second one, I have provided autistic individuals get confused which is my classroom. So I have given flooring in this pattern, that I have color coded all classrooms and the tables, so that student can easily like I can assign a color, like you have to go to orange color classroom, so student can walk through and see orange color classroom, orange color floor pattern, in which classroom interior is also based on same color, so they cannot get confused by colors. This is therapy and vocational block, in which in vocational block we can give training like occupational therapy, hydrotherapy and all, and in therapy block. And in vocational block, there are certain activities like candle making and block printing workshops, etc. This is accommodation and mess block. This is the landscape detailing that I have provided in my site. So here are, like, I have given sensory park and horticulture therapy for students, so that they can connect with their classrooms and get like one children can assign one plant, and he can take care of them, so that he can learn like how to take care of ourselves. So this activity makes them independent, helps to make them independent. This is a detailing of play area. These are some detailings of landscape, like how the human scale sculpture coming on the side. These are some landscape details that I have provided. Thank you.
Oh, congratulations for being shortlisted. You worked on a very absolutely seminal idea that, autism needs to be treated in a very different manner. And conventional buildings may not be in a position to handle autistic students. My question to you is, though architecture is only the instrument, right? In what way is your building different? Because your buildings are naturally like a conventional building. I don't see any difference in your building to, let's say, if I pick up a school, a regular school, running school, and I go into that, it's somewhat in a similar manner. You may have color-coded the classrooms, even nursery school.
Different type of, like when I talk about hyper and hypo, so I have provided color code, and in a different manner I have given drawing walls. So like in a normal school, we say that please don't scroll on walls and all. I have given a different type of wall for them, so that they are allowed to do anything in their space. They can feel free in their space. And I have divided, like they have different type of learning systems, so they cannot learn easily. Some of them can learn easily and some of them cannot. So that's why I have divided the schools in two types, so that they can learn on their spaces. And simultaneousn I have given one common space, that is a musical therapy, in which they can come together and learn that what other children are learning. So I have divided in that way and given these facilities.
Autism is the clinical interpretation is fine. As an architect, what would you want to do which will change their lives is more important, right? And secondly, I would like to know, I may not be aware, are autism children comfortable staying indoors or outdoors?
They are like different, they have different type of nature. Some of them are introverts and some of them are extroverts. So that's why I have divided it into two types. Hypo students are more interactive than hyper. Students are interactive, but they are very hyper, so we cannot put them with the students that are less responsive to something. That's why I have divided it to two parts.
Also, my last question to you is that when you work out on a site plan, a facility like this should be a lot more integrated than marginalized or fragmented. You make it fragmented, it possibly turns out to being more a medical facility, that you are entering into an outpatient and inpatient and treatment wards. So in a school-like atmosphere, it's preferable that everybody is around in one location. They can see each other with some sort of distinction between one another. Now, working on independent units like this, it's easier for you as an architect to solve the issues but I think on the general scale, it makes life much more easier if it is an integrated plan. Right? It's only an observation, right?
Okay, sir.
Hello.
Hello, ma'am.
Congratulations on getting shortlisted.
Thank you, ma'am.
My question is that we are considering that these students might need a special kind of love and care, and if I derive certain guidelines from them, so it starts giving me certain ideas as how I would interpret my design to be, right? So just taking one consideration out of it, I'm just talking about the site planning. So when you say love and care, probably we are talking about retaining the site the way it is, and probably the landscape which is existing, or the trees and everything which is existing there. But I see a lot of hardscape in your design, so can you justify that?
I have given open spaces for children, but they need therapy. That's why I have given therapy and vocational block, and it's requirement also, because in classrooms they cannot get that much of therapy and vocational training. That's why I have given hard covered space, so that they can, because we have to see their safety also, so we cannot place all the activities on outdoors. That's why I have given some of therapies in outdoor and some of them are in indoors.
I don't know if my question was little not convinced to you. I was just asking about the kind of road network and everything that you have given in the site. When we are saying we have to have the love, care thing in the children, we are deriving certain guidelines and we are applying there.
Yes.
And I'm considering that the site, how it is, I won't probably just modify it totally, but retaining the trees, retaining the landscape and everything, so that it gives them that we are not changing you, we are just helping you, right? So that kind of thing, it wasn't regarding the spaces, it was just regarding how did you arrive at maybe placing those blocks and then connecting it with the hardscapes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Congratulations. Can I have the slide of the site plan, please?
Yes.
So in your intent, you told us you needed escape spaces.
Yes, ma'am.
You needed transition spaces.
Yes, ma'am.
You needed sensory planning. I'll just pick these three. What I feel, dear, is when I'm looking at the site plan, it is, again, the open spaces are the leftover spaces. So, building rakh diya maine, jo bacha wo open space. Then, designing those. So, when I'm talking about the build, which we always talk about, define spaces through your built open relationship. Here, what is happening is you have buildings that are so dominating on site, and the leftover spaces, jo bhi open spaces are leftover spaces. So my question is, and you also mentioned hypo and hyper, where some students might need an introvert environment, the other students might need an extrovert environment because they need to release their energy. So releasing their energy in introvert spaces or spaces inside a room would be difficult. They need to do some physical activity. Can you please explain these things in reference to your site plan?
Yes, ma'am. I have provided spaces for hyperactive students in site. On the site, there is a integrated courtyard in which they can play. Also, on their roof, I have provided a play space that is human scale animals and all play areas. So these are some spaces. And second one is I have given horticulture therapy. This is also a space in which they can feel the nature. Also, I have provided a play area in which students can come and play, like they can play if they are hypo and if they are hyper, both of them can come and play here. Also, I have given entrance so that students can come from their classrooms and play in the play area.
Read the same thing that I said to the previous presenter. You don't have to go to a certain place to be part of that place. It could still be integrated with your classrooms, around the classrooms. And one more thing. And one more, why is only the courtyard as an element the only thing defined as a transition element? Meaning there are so many ways we can still have these transitional spaces. You know, courtyard is a place where you're still having all the classrooms around, everybody's overlooking, everybody's disturbing each other. You know, it's such an introvert kind of a thing. So, I mean, there are other ways to have transition spaces.
There is a transition space that I have said, a musical therapy in between both of them, which is connected through a circular ramp and with a covered jali. So this is an interactive and interesting space for students. Secondly, I have integrated some like little bit of landscape and a play area inside the classroom so that student can play and escape for some time if they are hyperactive. Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am, I just wanted to announce one thing. I would request all the presenter to be very clear with their objective or intent before they begin. So for us, it is easier to orient ourselves. Are we clear with the presenters? Thank you.
Yeah, any audience questions? Audience, any questions? Yeah.
You've given some built forms, you've given some open areas. There might be something in between connecting them, the transition spaces. Can you give any insights about those transition areas? बीच वाले जो भी आ रहे हैं, कैसे दिख रहे हैं, क्या हो रहा है वहाँ पर, कैसा space है? How is the flow from the built to the open area? I want to know this.
So this is the transition space in which I have provided musical therapy with a musical pathway. So in this space, students can interact with each other, and this is semi-covered, like the ramp is covered with jali, so they can connect with nature and all. Secondly, I have given this play area on the roof of hyper school so that both of them can play on this area.
Thank you. A round of applause for the presenter. Since one of the shortlisted presenters, candidates, was not available when the name was called, we now move on to what is called the standby list. And the first shortlisted presenter on the standby list is AE80AP 24117 Urban Oasis. Urban Oasis, an integrated mixed use commercial development with the concept of urban planning. Is the presenter here? I'm repeating the code AE80AP 24117. Is the presenter here? I think all of us are aware that if the shortlisted presenter is not available, then you lose the chance to present. So I'm once again repeating the code AE80AP24117. Unfortunately, I think the presenter, the student is not here. So then we are forced to move on to the second standby presenter, that is, please pay attention, AE80AP24104. Wonderful. Wonderful. Happy to see you here. Yeah, we are now ready to move on with the presentation of AE80AP 24127, redevelopment of Prayagraj railway station.
A very good morning to all the jury members, faculty and students present here. My topic is the redevelopment of Prayagraj Junction railway station. So this thesis revolves around how the redevelopment of railway stations are being done on a very large scale in India currently under certain government schemes. This comes after the increase in tourism in local interstate and intercity locations. How air travel does not justify or fulfill all the needs of people's travel, because a majority of Indian population has to use railway stations in order to reach their places. The current situation that we have in the stations is not very convenient for the increasing amount of tourism that we are facing right now. Both national and international means, because internal country city to city movement has to be done in most of the cases through railways. So the thrust area that I took for the main intent of the thesis was to redevelop it in a manner that an identity is created of the city of Prayagraj, formerly Allahabad, and to give it an infrastructure redevelopment and growth, and add on to it passenger amenities, along with creating an identity for the whole city at large. So the background of Prayagraj is that on the junction station we had two major sides of the station. That was, one was on the civil line side and one was the city side. The main station that we have currently is the city side that caters to all the population, crowd and tourism. And on the civil line side, that should have a major crowd, did not have anything other than an escalator to exit the station. That was all. So the main scheme was to put 60% of the incoming and outgoing population of tourists through the civil line side station due to better roads instead of the city side. So that is the main aim of my thesis, that we would redevelop and add on to the development of the civil line side station and connect it to the city side while connecting it to the heritage of the city. These are some of the main bylaws that we had to consider during the redevelopment, because the station has to follow certain strict guidelines, while the security, emergency responses and the movement are major patterns that need to be followed. The current forecast of the incoming traffic, peak hour traffic, that is around 10,000 normally, 10,000 per hour. But during Kumbh, that is to happen in 2025, which is a major reason why this redevelopment has to happen before the Mahakumbh happens. That happens every 12 years. Because it would bring an influx of tourism. That would increase by 7,000, making it 17,000 peak hour traffic per hour, and that is why the area has to be increased to avoid any accidents that one happened in the last Mahakumbh in 2013. So in this, there was an addition of a concourse along with the civil line side building. The concourse, as we can usually nowadays see in airports, are now being incorporated in railways. So those concourses will have sitting spaces, commercial spaces, and movement spaces that would connect the two sides of the city altogether. The site is a central city location point. It has currently 10 platforms with an addition of 2 platforms proposed in the current coming up redevelopment. These are some number of halting trains and the traffic that it sees. So as we can see, it has major sites nearby it in the city. So this the site that is marked here is the main redevelopment that I followed, and this concourse area is where it connects it to the old station, that is the Prayagraj railway station that we have currently here. And the site is this is the Civil Line station. And we can see the Kumbh sheds here that also play a main role in the redevelopment designing, that are connected to the concourses and the current foot over bridges, that is the FOBs, the FOB number 2. So these are the current situations of the site. This was the parking on, the only thing present on the Civil Line side was the parking and an exit escalator to FOB2, and the main station was present on city side. So this is the city side station currently. These are the FOBs, waiting rooms, and this was the only structure that we had right now on what the area I'm redeveloping. There were certain houses that had to be demolished and shifted as per the government scheme, and on the whole site of around 17 acres was given to the station. So the main station area was 17 acres. The context is 24 that we cover with the concourse, combined a 41-acre site redevelopment. So some case studies that I had taken were based on functionality and identity creation, that we look on to circulation, accessibility, building infrastructure, creation of city center and historical importance, connecting it to present context. First is the Rani Kamalapati station of Bhopal. This was a redevelopment again of two sides, the east and west. The main redevelopment happened at the west side of the station, where they incorporated the green and infrastructure along with the ease in movement of passengers, connecting while having it connected with the old arches that were present on the east side. And they also connected with a new metro line that is coming up, which connects directly into the departing first floor of the railway station, along with a commercial building that is right on the right hand side of our railway station. This is the SMVT railway station, Bangalore. This was mostly just majorly involved infrastructure redevelopment. It was a fresh station, not a redevelopment. It had all internal cooling systems. It did not incorporate any green building capacity or a concept of city center. Only the infrastructure was incorporated in this. This is the Charbagh railway station of Lucknow. This has a proper representation of the city and how the arches and the domes represent of what the city is made of from where it comes from, and how the incorporation of new facilities are incorporated with these current facades. So these are some comparative analysis of how the different types of terminals and junction stations have been done as per the footfalls in areas and the redevelopment categories. So coming on to the parameters and design criteria were accessibility, movement, social activity, architecture, language. These were some examples that majorly how we have to incorporate the language of architecture and the city. That the moment we enter the station, we know that it is Prayagraj and how it connects to the Kumbh and Triveni, and that is where my concept arrived from. The first area requirements, we had to look up at the built-up and green requirement. That is quite less for railway redevelopments. For green, just 6% is needed and 10% was achieved. The footfall ratio was calculated as per 17,500 peak hour. And the areas had to be given to offices, commercial spaces, along with the passenger amenities. So all these three main categories of how the goods were being transported, how the people were moving, circulating around the site, how the offices were incorporated on the site, the railway offices, and a commercial space that would create revenue for such a vast, huge redevelopment. The concept was identity through fluidity in design. This comes from the Triveni, that is the Sangam that is present in Prayagraj, the Ganga Yamuna Saraswati convergence point. That creates, so the form of fluidity and movement pattern. Movement is important in terms of transit hub because the movement of passengers creates a major point of interaction between the people and the space. So this was the form that I had taken for the roof, along with incorporating it into an internal planning system with the easy, clear, singular movements and a concourse. A concourse that connects on the both sides, that represents both fluidity and a connection through movement. This was the site plan. Here we can see as the entry and exit points for the main thing that was done was to segregate the arrival and departure. The arrival was kept on the ground floor so that there is an easy and fast exit of everybody who is arriving at the station to exit from the station. And the departure, that is, they're entering the station to board the train. So the departure had to go on the first floor that was at a 9-meter height. The roads directly, the vehicular roads directly were going up at 9 meters. That connects to the concourse. Reason for 9 meters is that we need a clear height of 6.5 meters for the concourse above the railway tracks for the wirings. So a safe height of 9 meter was is recommended in the bylaws. So this is the site plan, and this we can see is the concourse that connects through both the sides. This we can see the ground floor arrival plan and how the this parcel movement. On the right side, the commercial and office block movement, and in the center, the exit for the passengers arriving with 4 main points of escalators and staircases provided so that there is no hindrance in the movement pattern, and central exhibition space provided for some monumental significance. And also, a wheelchair point provided right at the entry point so that there is no inconvenience for universal accessibility. This is the departure point that gives us at the 9 meter. The entry directly happens from this road. As we can see the ramp going up, the road directly goes up with a filled structure and drops off at the first floor for the departure. And above the departure was a lounge floor that connects directly to the departure. For easy entry and exit, these two segregations were very necessary. This was the form of the roof, and we can see how the concourse connects through this roof. And this is the ramp that goes up at the departure point to drop off the passengers who have to board the trains, and they can then further go on to the concourse and to the footover bridges or directly onto the platforms. So these are the departure and the commercial spaces. The commercial spaces were connected to the departure floor so as to create revenue, because a person who's arriving to board a train, the train might be late, or maybe he has arrived earlier, needs a lounge space and a commercial space. So that would help the person coming into the station to experience around and have time to explore the facility. These are some of the elevations and points of how the 9 meter first floor, and then there's a double height we have provided for an easy and more open space and feeling of easy movement. And these are the structures, and this isometric we can see how the red arrows represent the passengers who are exiting the platform, the station. And for entry, if somebody has to enter from the ground, there is one escalator that does go up, so it does not mean that we are completely segregating it. But the major entrance for the departing would be on the first floor. The green arrows can be shown here. And then from the yellow arrows, we can see they can move to the lounge areas. This roof form was made of space truss and covered with PTFE trusses, and fenestrations provided in order to give ample light and wind space. And in order to handle the fall of water it might create, there were given water bodies in front and rainwater harvesting point and pipes so that there is no influx of increase in water. The parking that was provided was segregated for the station and the commercial at different entry points so that there is no fluctuation of traffic in between. And this is the pattern of how the concourse was provided with the seatings and kiosks, the circular kiosks, so that movement is easy through both the sides along with having seating points. The concourse was made sure to be taken from above the platforms only so that we can have columns and not on the track, so that there is no hindrance created in above the track. So these are some urban elements I incorporated in the structure because as a transit hub, people need to have comfort of shading, seating positions, points, benches. And some places that have dustbins and ample lighting points. The universal accessibility needs to be provided through provision of wheelchair accessible points and ramps. These were some views of the station, how the form and fluidity represent the concept of movement pattern and the help in the drop of an overall movement of the station. So from internal point of view, we can see that there is a double height provided there for an open transit for all passengers without any feeling of suffocation due to crowds that would increase during some festivals or major events happening in the city.
Hello.
Hello.
Congratulations on being shortlisted.
Thank
I kind of like the research component that you went through, the methodology chart especially, because you're talking about 400 railway stations to be getting redeveloped, and I think that methodology that you have given is kind of a work be applied to most of them, because we're talking about creating a hypothesis and then finalizing certain areas, and so I kind of like that. The second thing is you were talking about the concept of Sangam. So somewhere you tried to work with it and try to develop the roof form accordingly. But if I talk about maybe cognitive levels of people looking at it, so somewhere you have touched upon the third level. But I'm also want to know if a common people who is coming to Prayagraj, and you have said that it tells you that you are at Prayagraj. So probably some person who doesn't know this concept and all, how does he actually understand that he has arrived? So what is it that you have made him understand that? That is one, apart from the form. And third thing that I want to ask is, how have you resolved the conflict between pedestrians, public transport, and the private transport at the entrance?
So as per the question regarding how a common person will understand when once they are entering the station, how it is representing the city. It is for the city of Prayagraj, it is the main thing that actually represents it is actually the Sangam. The moment we talk about the city, if you tell someone, okay, you're from Prayagraj or you're going to Prayagraj, the first thing they ask you, oh, the place where Sangam is. So the idea that the person, any common person will understand that why this form would have been taken, or how, and because I have provided some internal points also where we have some graphical representations of those points and center points for some element that can be placed in the center without hindering any movement point. So that is how I feel that even the common general people would understand this concept through while entering or exiting the station. And as per the second, to show the movement, just so for the movement segregation, we can see that the entry point is here, and the circle here that you can see.
Can you use a pointer? I'm not able to understand.
So at this entry point, we are entering for to pick up for the departure. This movement on the outer road happens for the departure. For any person that has to enter as a pedestrian, this can be the entry point. Here it can be the drop-off for the people, and this will be the walking pathway. And the car would exit from here. Now, in case of arrival, you enter from here, and then the car would go up to the ramp. Sorry, the departure. Sorry. For the departure, you enter, and then you would go up to the ramp and exit here. And this is where the main pedestrian movement would go for the departing passengers. But for the arrival, we can have it through these as well.
Okay, thank you.
So elaborating further on her question, when you're talking about a transport terminal, you're basically talking about efficiency in your different transport systems, right? So when I'm talking about, an auto driver coming to drop someone, or a private vehicle coming to drop someone, or a two-wheeler coming there, parking the vehicle and going out station. Yes. So we have various means of transportation, not only for the railway station, but we have two additional activities that you have given, which are the office block and the commercial space. Yes. So we have three kind of users. Now when these people who are traveling are supposed to travel, they need a separate pathway probably, or a movement corridor pattern. Then people who are coming for offices and the commercial activity. How have you delineated each of these in the precinct?
Yes. So in this plan, as we can see, this part of the plan, this is the major part that caters to the commercial and office we were talking about. This would be the entry point for the loop that is formed because of this ramp around it. There is a full 12 meter that can we enter here. There is this drop off for the commercial, and then here that is the drop off for the office. So again, these two are also segregated while being separate from the station. This whole movement can be one loop, and this whole movement is another loop, without hampering into the main central point of the station.
No, where is the parking? We are only seeing drop-offs.
Yes, ma'am. We have surface parkings over here that are to be entered here from the taxi routes. And the road provided here, this would be for the commercial and offices, and this portion was for the station. The main parking was provided in the basements. This again, these were the ramps that were meant for the commercial and offices, and these are the entry and exit ramps provided for the station. These are also not hampering with these, and a total of 530 parkings, 585 parkings were provided as per the calculations that were needed on the site.
What for cabs and autos? If you have to book a cab or an auto, do we have a cab and auto stand there?
Yes, ma'am. At the drop-off points here, there is ample space enough for cars to be moved. So the road becomes of double the size as we have on the rest of it. So this provides for the points that are needed for the autos and the cabs pickups.
Thank you.
Hi. Have you read Mehrotra's Ephemeral City?
Sorry, sir?
Have you read Mehrotra's Ephemeral City on the Kumbh Mela?
Yes, so there was a book I read on Kumbh that was written along with the University of Harvard that looks up to how the tents are.
So that's Rahul Mehrotra's book.
Yes, so that one I've done.
If you look at what it says is that the city transforms to accommodate the Kumbh Mela. Now, you have got a regular city and a city during the Kumbh Mela. two different things. And I think an attempt should have been made that, for the regular pattern, you would do X, and on the months of the Kumbh Mela, which is incorrigibly difficult to handle, you would do Y. It's just not the fact that 10,000 will become 17,000, right? It's incredibly large. Yes. I think the attempt should have been made to say, I would do this and I would do that towards accommodating the traffic. And all the traffic is on foot. There is gonna be, this is not an airport, right? This is a railway station. And particularly for devotees who turn up. Not for the city of Prayagraj, there would be a few hundreds who would possibly be traveling every day, but the rest of them are devotees and they'll all come by foot. I think the major issue here is the mixing up of the two modes of transport. There's a car trying to go up, there are people trying to go across, you're going to have chaos, right? So that needed to be handled well. The other issue of the underlying rationale is, the contradicting form, which you have taken as a metaphor of three rivers and things like that. And she asked the question as to how does it relate to the person who's on the street. You're trying to relate it to yourself. You're looking at it as a parametric modeling device. But how does it relate to the person on the street? I like the fact that you looked at it as the three rivers and then the three curves are based on it. But the person on the street, I think, relates to a very simple epitome of what happens across the street. So if you go to Varanasi or wherever, even Prayagraj, the earlier building, is all maybe a temple architecture and the reference is immediate. So even with your parametric modeling, I would have hoped that you had brought some references to what the layman can, acknowledge and be part of. The observation, you can reply to it, and the other issue is that the city is not a tree. Simple hierarchies don't work in a system like this. If you picked it up and said this is for the city of Jaipur, I would have agreed. City of Bangalore, I would have agreed. But this is dramatically a different context. Most of the people who visit Prayagraj are devotees or come for worship, and mentally they are different. They're going to be carrying stuff. They're going to be camping on the railway platform. It's not going to be used like an airport. Please understand, they're going to be camping. They're going to be sleeping on the platform. What is your open area on the platforms? All right. And lastly, your intervention is only for the terminal building. Why isn't your intervention covering the tracks? Right? If you look at all the other stations abroad, like in China, why even in Gandhinagar for that example, China, or if you went to Munich, any of these places, they look at covering the entire system so that there is no loss of space. Now you've taken a huge chunk of land in front of the station and you've developed it, but over the tracks, it remains conventionally the same. There is no differentiation except for the railway overbridges, and then you come down. It's the same system. Why haven't you considered that?
As to answer the redevelopment over the station tracks, the main point for these tracks that the requirement of the area was one of the factors that we took into account, that the area that the concourse covers up, in order to connect the two stations is area enough as per the charts to accommodate the public. As per the Kumbh crowds that need to be considered, and that they would be crowding the platforms by sleeping. So there are two Kumbh sheds provided on the city side of the building, of the whole campus. Those two Kumbh sheds are the places
These two kum sheds are the points where the main stay of those people happen, that 20,000.
Now that's been done traditionally.
Yes.
What are you doing?
So the main idea for adding this with the design was to, because these were just two chunks that were given out and were not being used properly towards that civil line side of the city. So these two chunks are now connected to the civil line side for a better movement point and for more segregated places for people to sit at or travel at or move at. So these are not just 2 points that people would crowd up and then move into the city without having any knowledge that there is space to go further on towards the main part of the station. And during the comb, there are already preset restrictions of roads and how vehicular traffic is restricted at some points. So these points, along with the concourse, why it plays a major role is this concourse does connect all the platforms together. The FOBs we had before were not connecting the platforms properly from one side to another. You had access from platform 1 just to platform 6. For the rest, you had to walk a very long distance. Now this directly connects you to platform 1 to platform 11. Without you having to break your path in between. So that was above the rail connection.
Last thing, can you put out one of your floor plans?
Yes, sir.
Okay, can you zoom into the floor plan? So I see maybe there are 3 blocks of toilets. I mean, I'm doing a crass thing here. I'm only picking out some silly stuff. 10,000 people, if I divide it by 25 people to one toilet, you need 400 toilets. Okay, and on the Kumbh Mela day, you need 800 toilets. You have about 50, 60 toilets.
So those toilet count would be divided further, those that are present at the platform points also. So
yeah, fair enough. So the point is, I would have appreciated if you had looked at it at 2 levels,
okay,
one during the Kumbh Mela and one away from
yes,
and then worked out 2 different things that would have happened. It would have been more imaginative.
okay,
Thank
sir.
you.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Are we looking at any audience questions? Audience also can participate. Welcome to participate.
May I add one more point? I forgot to answer one of sir's questions regarding maybe a temple form that could have been added in the building. The original building that we have right now for the city side has arches in it, and there are a major role that arches play in Allahabad, as we can see maybe in the Allahabad University also. So the incorporation of that form does relate to the arches, so it's not completely foregone that we are not including it, but these arches in a more modern technique have been added. And in terms of the crowd that are entering and exiting Prayagraj, we can say that it has created a lot of IAS officers, so we do have a lot of educated crowd entering it too. So I hope it does fit the stakeholders that we have. Thank you.
Thank you. So we can move on to the next presentation. To update our audience, I would just like to inform that we have completed 4 presentations so far. We go on to the 5th and the final presentation on in this category, Category A, Architectural Project. This means that we will now move on to Category B. We have 5 fresh slips containing the code numbers and the project titles of the 5 selected by the jury yesterday. And before The last presenter on category A begins his presentation. We will be picking up the slip for the first presenter of category B. I would request Dr. Rama to please do the honors and announce the name of the first presenter in category B. I have 5 slips here.
This would be AEATSC 24122, Experience Cultural Landscape Region, Majuli, Assam. A big round of applause.
So the first presenter on category B is present and ready for the presentation. I think going by the time in hand, we may break for lunch after this presentation. So we will have done 6 before lunch and we'll have 4 more after lunch. Over to you.
Hello everyone. So I designed a tech museum in Dwarka Sector 11, New Delhi. And I tried to keep it minimal, sophisticated, and try to design something that is actually buildable. And I also designed, it's actually a journey which I designed for the user, and also try to design it like a piece of tech. So for the introduction, there was a geographical gap in the area in New Delhi. Most of the museums were centrally placed, and it also aligns with the government objective of planting a tech museum in Delhi. And these were some of the pointers: that educational impact of a museum, tourism attraction, innovation, geographical gap. And this was a site which was a public zone. And there were the problems in museum, like public disconnect, reducing visitors, and the spaces were not good, and locations were also not good. And some research for interactive exhibits, how to design an interactive exhibit, and area program for the same. And for the galleries, I tried to keep it a modular structure where we start from the future, then go to history, and then come back to drop the user to the present. So there are 6 major galleries: robotics, future tech, space tech, journey through time, and tech for good, everyday tech. So I kept it modular so that if one components get outdated, one can replace it with other. So the institutional framework research, identified the users, the site location in Dwarka Sector 11. So this was the context. There were schools nearby, metro station nearby for public transport, bus stops nearby. There's also a DDS sports park here and public zones there. And the bylaws, the connectivity, identified the nodes, the primary road and secondary road connections from where I can get the user, the public road network, some site info. There were 3 high tension lines running along the site. So that part of the site was non-buildable. So nothing can be constructed there, so it had to be treated. The climate study for Delhi, the case studies I did was Indian Music Experience, Sydney Modern Museum, Earthquake Museum in Gujarat. And these were the design directives. I had to think the transport, zoning, narrative, multiple types of users coming, and the management of crowd, activity happening there, what will be the experience of every user. And continuing that cultural fusion and personalized journey for each and every user. The surreal experience, introducing educational programs, the modular galleries. So the concept was that I did case studies for different museums and came to a conclusion that the form, facade, and overall architecture of the museum should resonate with the theme of the museum. So my theme for the museum was tech. So I studied tech, and every piece of tech from simple to complicated is made up of components and their connection. So I designed the building in such a way that there were components and they were connected to each other and giving a user one single journey throughout. So in this you can see there were treated the form like different components, and connecting them to give one single route. And for the facade, where I need light, I use glass. For control lighting, I use this GFRC panels with a monolithic look, and I don't need light in the galleries, I place them in the southwest part and use the AAC blocks for shutting down the galleries. And coming back to the concept, the connection. So horizontally, I gave connection through form. You can see there are two different pieces which are connected horizontally through form, and vertically the connection is given through materiality. The upper two floors I have a different material, and the lower two floors have a different material, giving it a monolithic look. And also the landscape is connected with sustainability, as I gave agrivoltaic panels connecting landscape with sustainability, and through all the facade is also connected horizontally through landscaping, and the landscaping climbs up to the facade, anchoring it down to earth. So this is the site plan, and here you can see this is the user entry, this is the drop off where this is the reception user gets. And this whole area is the agrivoltaic panels where high tension lines are running along, and nothing can be constructed there. There's an event space for some tech events like Apple, Google I/O in the north area, so doesn't get heat up. And the entry is from this side, but once the whole journey is completed, the user gets down here near the food court. And this is the Uber Ola's pickup zone. The Uber Olas will be standing here where solar panels are given for charging. Those are EVs. The user can the Uber Ola driver can collect the user and exit through this gate. And yeah, this is the larger context. The admin block on the back side where all the back end activities happen, public on the front, exhibition center, the central reception, there's a bridge, and the start of the galleries at the back end, which goes all over the building. So this is the evening view where you can see this facade. It's like a glyph interface. The LEDs at night can light up and project different information, or just at different occasions to attract users. There's a screen over here, and this is the southwest side, so this is completely blocked. There's no fenestration, and these are on the facade. On the lower two floors, there are this is a green wall, and on the lower floor is the green wall, and on the upper floor are solar panels. So we can get the energy through the facade. The basement, the morning view. So this demarcates the entry. I scooped out a volume to create a sense of entry there. You can see the bridge there. So the main journey starts from here. Here's a reception. After the security check, there's an interactive museum model where it's like a menu. There's a model of the museum kept there, and you can see through different augmented reality what is kept in what part of museum it is, what gallery, and get the tickets. And this is from where the journey starts. This experience center is a whole different thing, not a part of the journey. One can experience it differently. And the journey starts from here, the robotics gallery, where I've given a water body. This is a reception area, the render of the reception area. The interactive museum model here, try to make it interesting to keep the user hooked. So this is the gallery part. So gave a water body in the gallery and placed pedestals and kept the bots at a far distance where they are not interactive bots, just the bots used in cinema, movies, etc. So it creates a kind of experiential space. There's a render. So yeah, this is the kind of space. Then user goes through all the interactive boards, the biomimetic boards, and other things through this part. Here the ramp starts along the water body. Again this is the render of the robotics gallery. You can see the pedestals and the robotics And then we come to the first floor. Here we experience the future tech gallery where different mobility, communication, future concepts are placed. Again, then there is a ramp that goes to the upper floor. This is the zoomed up of the future tech gallery. Then isometric of the future tech gallery and the AR/VR zone, which is an experience center. So here you can see the communication devices, transportation, future displays. And then to the second floor, here's a cutout and a ramp again to the space tech galleries. So here all the columns are treated. There will be display on the columns where all the pioneers of space tech, the information will be displayed. Like everything is very detailedly designed, but I don't have much time, I guess. And there's a double height space here where you can get into the pod, and this double wall blank space will display the space and give you a Mars pod kind of experience. So here's a Mars pod, and there are some no sensory, like sensory spaces also, like the calm room. So if one gets overstimulated, there's a calm room for autistic people. And after that, you go to this empty looking gallery, which is completely a thematic gallery and completely powered by the projections. So the themes will be projected instead, some props will be used that will be stored in this part, and everything will be projected. And after this, you again go back to this ramp, and the ramp goes to the upper floors. Space Tech Gallery zoomed in. You can see Mars pod here. The isometric of the Space Tech Gallery, the Mars pod, the information of pioneers displayed here. Everyday Tech Gallery, and this is Tech for Good Gallery. So every tech that is good for environment, healthcare sector is kept here to inspire Indian innovations and experiments. And after that, here's a journey through time gallery, starting from Abacus, builds two tools, then Watts engine, steam engine, then modern automobile, then there's a retro living room space here, and finally some props of future. And then there's a bridge which marks a transition. Now we are done with the past and the future. Now we are transiting to the present. So there's a bridge, you cross the bridge, you come to this part of the building, and zoomed up details of the journey through time gallery. You can see steam engine, Watts engine, printing press, the automobiles, retro living space. Yeah, so we come to the after all this journey is done, in this part of the building is the everyday tech gallery, where the present tech is displayed, like the smartwatches, normal phones, what is trending today. So these two floors are dedicated to that. Then you come down to the retail part. You see like something, you want to buy something, you can get here. Opposite of the retail on this side are the workshops where things that you will buy will be made. And down you come to the escalator to the food court, where you want to grab food after a whole journey you're tired. You can grab food and enter the Uber Ola zone, where you can get picked up. Also, I designed an interactive app interface where the user can open the app side by side, and he can see how much of the museum he has explored. So like he has an idea how much time to spend here, how much time to spend here, and how much time is left. These information will also be displayed on the columns. And along with that, there are environmental cubes that will display the information, like how much water is used in this building, how much trees are being cut every day. So being in a visualized manner, so one can visualize how much harm we are doing to the environment and all. So some sections. So this facade, not only it's backlit at night, but in the day also there's a VR ride that goes inside the building in the experience center and comes out. And through that VR ride, if one sees that these dots act as a grid point for VR. So VR can track the surface and different themes can be projected. So it's a personalized journey, and user can change his theme depending on whatever he likes. So this whole facade is a southwest facing. So it's completely shut down with the vertical garden here on the ground floor, where one has to really experience as close to the nature. And on the upper floor are the solar PV panels used as a design element on the facade. Also inspires like These are the sections of section. You can see the lights and AAC block and GFRC panels with a thin metal jali blocking the fenestration. And this is the front view. You can see the connections between two blocks through a bridge, and vertical connections also, all the vertical connections from landscape to facade to the blocks can be seen, and these identify as two different components rather than a one single unit. And for the facade, the north, I wanted to give it a monolithic look, just like tech. So on the outer layer is the GFRC panels covering it from all the sides. But in the north, it's actually glass where there are transitional spaces. And on the south and west side, these are blocked by AC panels where are the galleries placed, and we don't need much light, so blocking off the extra. And this is the isometric view of the same. The physical model where you can see clearly the different components rather than reading it as a one unit. Detailed model and one evening view. There's a screen on the southwest side also. And thank you, that's it, madam.
So congratulations for finally making it to the first five.
Thank you, ma'am.
I appreciate the work you've done.
Thank you.
So my concern is, so you've taken components and you've connections. That is what is shown in the form modulation, right? What I'm concerned also is, when I'm talking about the internal spaces and when I'm talking about a museum, there is a certain kind of movement pattern that defines it. And internally also, so you might have gallery 1, gallery 2, you might have some transition spaces where the spaces probably opens up or is getting connected in some way to, green and technology. So you're more interactive in its approach. Also in a museum, you're not just having islands and, you're just passively looking at it. But if you're talking about technology, you're also trying to be interactive with the user.
Yes, ma'am.
Who's come to be part of the museum. So these things I feel are missing in the internal designs or internal spaces.
Ma'am, at the micro level, like if there are, I could not explain in detail, but the machines that I kept there, they were interactive, like the interactive boards, and also the outside connections. So there is a ride in the experience center that takes the user from inside and goes on outside, sees the facade, the VR one, and then again from outside come back to inside, and transitional spaces are on the north side. So that I have kept glass there, so one can connect with the outside. Also in the robotics, gallery view, I intentionally wanted to cut down the connection from outside. So just a second. So here I intentionally used this frosted glass to cut. I wanted just the light, not the view from this. So to give it a sort of experiential space, intentionally cut down the connection from outside by using a frosted glass. So it was done with intention to avoid the outside interactivity. It is not required at every place. It is required at some part of the transitional space, I agree. But inside the galleries, it was my...
तुम ये दिखा के फंस गए. You having light coming from पीछे.
Yes, ma'am.
Is this the right thing to do in a museum?
Ma'am, actually that's a north facade. So the right amount of light I want comes through this facade.
So adding to this, what I'm trying to say is, this is something where you are having an island display, right?
Yes,
in a museum. The other thing what I was trying to tell you is an interactive display where a user becomes part of it. So if you've been to Changi or if you've seen Changi, some things are still interactive there.
Okay.
You still so technology is not only, so यहाँ तो हम सिर्फ दूर से देख रहे हैं उसको, but if you become part of it, you start, accepting it, right? So this is what I was asking. And even in terms of, so as an architect, in terms of
playing with the volumes, playing with the light internally also. So articulation of spaces inside also, I thought was missing. It's too monotonous in its layout.
Okay.
Have you visited the Jawahar Kala Kendra here in Jaipur?
No, not in
Not.
Jaipur. I did case studies in Delhi, like the
All right.
PM Museum.
And was my point of any museum for a layman would be, what is the exit option? What I mean by exit option is that you have a gallery 1, a gallery 2, a gallery 3, gallery 4. If you're going to be getting them to go through all the galleries, even if they're fed up, right, and not exit, then you have a problem, right?
Yes.
So all galleries are worked out on the basis of an exit module.
Yes, sir.
You take a start gallery in Stuttgart, or you take the Jawahar Kala Kendra. You go to a gallery 1, you're fed up, you can exit immediately. You don't have to be, you're not pushed into the gallery 2, and then you're stuck in this circulation and you don't know how to get out. The system should work where you move from one gallery to another. My question to you is, this is something, my observation, but my question to you is, what is the identity that you've created for each gallery? If I walk through your entire museum, I come back with this notional idea that I've seen the museum, but I cannot relate to each of the galleries. And that's why I asked you if you've seen Korea's Kala Kendra, that each gallery has an identity. And so you map that identity with the display. And then, so you come back with saying that I saw 5 galleries. For me, what would happen when I come back from your museum is, I saw a museum. I don't know how many galleries I saw because it was just flowing through one after the other, right? Have you created an identity for the galleries?
Yes, there are themes, like the starting I displayed. So basically there are 6 different galleries, each has a different theme, and everything is thematic according to that gallery. I need to find that graph. Yeah. So these are the 6 different themes: robotics, the future tech, space tech, journey through time, and even after...
Those are the displays, I agree. But for an architect, what is the visual theme? I'm not looking at the displays or what you have kept in the museum. That's you're not the creator of those. There are somebody else who's going to create that and put it together. What have you created?
Like architecturally.
Yes, yes.
Architecturally, each gallery has a different, like the robotics gallery, the architectural element is the pedestals where robots are placed on a pedestal from a distance at you. And similarly, different galleries, like the future tech gallery has an overlooking view to those spaces. So there's a different identity to that. And similarly, each space tech has a double-heighted space where you can see the whole space wall. And also the journey part, if you are inside a gallery, then you have completely go through the gallery and come out. But if you are in a transitional space, you can exit through a core. The app which I said showed the interface will have your journey percentage saved, like this time you visited. Sometimes you don't have enough time to complete the whole journey, so the app will have like you have experienced 7% of this, so you can save it, and next time you visit you can continue your journey from that gallery. You don't need to go through all this. You can use the codes are placed evenly and go through those and visit the gallery you want. Yes.
Hello, congratulations.
Hello. Thank you.
So I just wanted to know, if you're saying it's a tech museum, then how is your building form or maybe building appropriate for this particular tech museum title?
The way it has been designed, like if you see a tech product from a speaker, suppose a speaker, there's a simple minimalistic form usually, and the components are placed inside of it and somehow connected to make it a functional thing. And so that's how it was designed. And the way technology has been used in the sustainable parts of this, in the material and the concept connections I used, so combined all of that to give it the overall tech theme and make it
so
look
simple, functional,
minimalistic.
that is what you picked up.
Minimalistic, monolithic.
Fine. My second question is, with that permutation combination of these three things, future, present, and history, how did you decide upon the one which you have taken? That is future, then history, and coming to
Like
present.
the conventional way is either history at the start, then goes to past and through future. But I wanted to give it a twist, start with the future to hook the user into the journey, and then like to the past to see how this was, what it has come from, and then dropping him off to the present through the bridge after the transitional space.
Okay, and I was a little skeptical about the title that you have given. Tech Museum is fine, but then you write Sector 11, Dwarka, New Delhi.
Yeah, something simple. The address is given along it, you remember it for...
But then when you give this, I was expecting something which maybe, I mean, looking at the title, anybody would think maybe how Sector 11, Dwarka would be technologically developed in future or something like that. So this title is little deceptive, I guess.
But I think like it's a short title out of 5, 6. You might remember Tech Museum was there, one or...
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wait, I have to add a last note. A robot on a pedestal, no, just one way. A robot on a pedestal is an art and not technology.
It's art. Both. It's a mixture of both. Okay, thank you.
I guess he was in a hurry and didn't want to wait for any audience question. Yeah, we now move on to the first presentation from social concern category. Experience Cultural Landscape Region, Majuli. Yes, one announcement for all the presenters. Everyone who has participated will get a certificate at the end of the day in the award ceremony. So all presenters are requested to be present for the entire session and receive your certificates in the evening. Yes, all participants who have submitted their work for consideration, everyone will get a certificate of participation. So please remain till the evening and participate in the award function.
Should I start?
Can we wait for everyone to sit down, please? Please don't congregate at the door, just sit down. Yes, your starts now.
Okay. So the name of my project is Experience Cultural Landscape Region, Majoli. So as the name signifies, it is a experience center in the cultural landscape region, Majoli. So Majoli is basically an island that is situated in Assam, in the upper Assam. So this island is known to be the world's largest river island, and yet 80% to 85% of Indians only doesn't know about this island. So this island also comes in the UNESCO World Heritage List every year in the tentative list, yet it gets disqualified due to some underdeveloped situations of these islands. Assam is situated in a hazardous zone of flood and earthquake, and especially Majoli. If we talk about Majoli, the whole region comes in the zone 5 of flood and zone 5 of earthquake. So because of that, the situations in Majoli is quite difficult to live. And if we talk about the formation of Majoli, the Majoli Island was formed in 1973, and since it's been depleting, in 1986, 1996, in all these years, you can see how the land of the Majoli has depleted day by day. So when it was formed, the total area was around 735 square kilometers, but now if we see in 2020, the area has depleted to 530 square kilometers. Due to continuous floods and earthquakes, this land is depleting day by day. They faces around 175 floods per year and earthquakes in every 2-3 days. So the bank line of Majoli during all these years have been depleting. The major people that are living and residing in Majoli are the tribal communities, mainly the Khacharis and Mishing and Deori tribes. These are the only communities residing in Majoli. Majoli is particularly a home to them, but they are forced to leave Majoli because no development issues and no development categories or schemes have been planned by the government to protect Majoli as an island. So this is why taking Majoli, why making an experience center in Majoli. So according to the stats, every month 50 to 60,000 people, visitors, come to Assam to visit the Assam and all the Seven Sisters states. But as they don't know about Majoli, it is quite insignificant for this place to have generated revenue. And tourism is the very important thing to generate revenue in an area. So as it is belong to the tribal communities, no as such revenue generation is being made, and so the government has limited their schemes just for the reconstruction of the tempered houses that are destroyed due to flood and earthquake, and no major construction or schemes have been generated for the people that are living there for their daily livelihood. The only thing that they do for their living is fishing and plantation of bamboo and rice cultivation. So making an experience center in Majoli would be quite beneficial for the people there, because the revenue generated by the experience center could help them to generate their houses. And not only by the revenue, in the whole project I have used advanced technologies and construction systems that can resilient the flood and earthquake, because it comes in a zone that is both flood and earthquake destroyed. So the techniques and construction processes are all that can resilient flood and earthquake. The impact on social life on people there is because it happens 175 floods per year. So it is quite one act made by the government of Majoli, that is known as Cultural Landscape Region Act. So the name only signifies all the cultural and landscape things that exist in Majoli. Majoli is famous for many cultural and festival traditional things that they have, like mask making, their favorite festivals, and cultivation, bamboo, rice cultivation, pottery, and their satras. And talking about the landscape, it has a unique landscape because of the topography and soil. Everything is unique in Majoli. So if we talk about the site and project, the Majoli is divided by 3 major rivers. Firstly, the Brahmaputra, then the Subansiri River, and the Kherakuti River. These are the rivers that divide Majoli, that forms Majoli into an island. So the site is taken and only one national state highway is near in the Majoli, that is State Highway 21, and the only way to reach Majoli is through ferries. There is no major road from Jorat to Majoli to reach there. So only ferries are provided to go to Majoli. If we talk about the site is created near the Lohit River, that is the least flooded area of Majoli according to the vulnerability map of Majoli. So the site is created near river so that I can give techniques of the construction that can be resilient to flood and earthquake, because once they see that these constructed spaces are resilienting the flood every year, they would get motivated by the techniques and construction process and apply them in their own houses also. Talking about the site analysis, my site is majorly divided into two parts. First, the major site is in front of the Lohit River, and some part of the site is beyond the Lohit River, so that because the two things that famous Majoli is the river and the topography of Majoli. So my site revolves around it, and to give a basic experience, the whole experience of Majoli, the whole center is influencing the cultural and landscape and traditional features of Majoli. So, talking about the accessibility, as I said, only ferries are provided by Johrat. So, it is by air you can reach to Johrat and then to Majoli by 44 kilometers, and through train and buses it is 37 to 39 kilometers approximately. And talking about the already existing settlements, because the experience center should give the basic knowledge of Majoli's original settlements. So I have shown some settlements of the experience Majoli already settled, like how they form their clusters near to water. Like since they have been staying there, the evolution of the settlements there have started near the water. So that's why I have taken my site near the water only, because to show how they have evolved from their certain age. The basic area program of this area requirements are divided into 4 zones. First, the information zone that consists of administration, auditorium and library. Then the awareness zone that consists of museums and cultural galleries. Then the experience zone that have restaurants, dorms and workshop area that can give the live workshops, hands-on experience of the cultivation of bamboo and pottery. Then the explore area, like people would be coming to Majoli to experience whole Majoli. So I have provided ferry area and safari area, so they can have a view of the whole island on its own, and have the ferry rides also, because it is very famous in Majoli. A basic zoning of the all the zones that I have constructed, like how the entries and spaces would be defined as one people entered through the site. So talking about the concept, so my whole concept is derived from the existing settlements of Majoli and how they have evolved as a life form, because it is a cultural center and experience center that need to make people experience the concept of Majoli. So the site is divided into the land cover, and as the people in Majoli create spaces, different spaces and clusters, so my whole different spaces are being divided into lots of clusters, then creating and symbolizing the clusters of Majoli. The whole clusters have been formed in a way that they combine each other in some way by creating certain courtyards in central spaces. Then centralizing by 2 axes. I have given 2 major axes, through one by the road and one by the river, because these 2 are the major sources of accessing Majoli as one. Then symbolizing the destruction, the whole spaces are being raised on a platform to resist the flood. But as it is earthquake resilient also, so the structural members of my whole spaces have been made with RCC. Then defining the identity, the whole spaces are divided, and by creating and symbolizing the courtyards and making a collective reformation, the whole the designing spaces in a modular open. When we talk about why modular, because modular is a certain form that can, okay, so then talking about the planning, so this is the main entrance of my site, and these are the parkings for the visitors. Like through ferries, cars can be also transported, so the people that are coming from nearby then can come with their cars and park it here. This is the main entrance. It is raised, the whole plan is on 3 levels. First at 4,000 mm, then at 6,000 mm, then 8,000 mm and then 12,000 mm. This area is only on the 4,000 mm. The entrance is from here. It is a raised platform at 4,000 mm. Then you enter and you visit in a junction that gives you the whole view of the Majoli, the whole view of the experience center. A water landmark has been situated in here, because the whole space is single heighted. So creating so to show massing, the water body is created, because the reflection of the whole building would show like it is it has some massing. These are the cultural galleries, and then beyond the planes have been created by placing the aggregate and defining the boundaries by steel barricades, so when the flood comes, the natural vegetation doesn't get destroyed. So this is the plan that you can see on the 6,000 level that have shown the cafeteria and the administration and the galleries. So once you go through the junction, you have to visit the galleries in a whole, because the galleries have shown the cultural and traditional masses and the evolution of their lives. So once you enter in the gallery, you have to see the whole galleries, and then you again come in the junction area. Then you have liberty to go either in the safari zone or in the ferry zone or workshop zone. This shows the workshop zones. So the workshop zones are majorly divided into two parts, and this is the open space. Once you come to the workshop zone, you are free to go in the open spaces if you want to spend time near the water. Waterfront development is also being created if you want to spend some time near there. And this is the way to go to the dorms. These are some of the views, and this is the major one module system, like how I have constructed the materials and all the construction things to resist flood and earthquake. So the structural members are created by RCC and the non-structural members are created by bamboo to give the basic experience. And when I visited Majoli, it was shown that some of the people have transferred to concrete and bricks to make their structures resist the flood and earthquake. So same techniques has been used, and a double roof system have been used to channel the rainwater. So this is a one module of my structure. Then this shows the gallery spaces, how the gallery spaces are determined, and how the open exhibitions have been created by creating a certain courtyard in the center. Similarly, this is a double-heighted library space that have a courtyard in the center, and the roof has also been created by the certain areas that doesn't have sufficient light, so the north light roofs have been created. And this is the section that shows how one goes from the entry junction to the dorms area. This is the section of the workshop that is double-heighted, creating a massing. So these are two workshops in the below and a third one above it. So the whole workshop has a double courtyard kind of thing to give a popular place for the open spaces also, because once the people enter in the workshop, they need an open breakout space for it also. These are some of the details that I have shown. The truss system have been used to experience and signify the caps that people in the Majoli use. Like every element of my project shows a experience and a thing that is representing the people of the tribal people of Majoli. These are some of the remaining sheets, and because it is at a raised, okay. That's it.
Hi. I have one or two questions. One is this island, Majoli, as you said. What other things happen on this island?
The main things that happen on this island is cultivation of bamboo and rice. No amount of tourism is there, so the people are involved in themselves only. They construct their own houses, they do everything for themselves.
So there are roads inside it, for transport?
There is one major state highway road that has been constructed.
Inside on the island?
Yeah, I have. The lines that this is the main road, state highway 21. Other than that, all the roads are like they are random kacha roads.
Yeah.
There's no straight.
So the reason I asked you is that you said there's a ferry and everyone can come and park on this side.
Yeah.
What was the idea? Where are they going?
Once they arrive to the ferries, there is a provision to take your cars also, and once as you arrive from the ferry to it, the state highway starts. So once you start from the state highway, my site is located here only. So it is near the state highway, and I have proposed a road that would connect my site to the state highway.
But it's not an island. You can only reach it by a ferry and exit it by a ferry, right?
Yeah, but you can't, you have the provision of taking cars. People take their cars and vehicles there.
Okay. All right. I'm missing some point here. How many visitors come to this place?
Right now, as I speak,
Do you have a stat to say how many visitors are
there? Like when I visited, I asked them about the tourism and all. So they said every month around only 200 people, because mostly Indians also don't know about this place. So why we can't even talk about the outer of the India. So there is a less number of tourism. But we talk about Assam. It has the tourism capacity up to 60,000 people per month.
But you said about 200 people come here.
Yeah.
My next question is, you got such an elaborate design proposal and you have so many visitor capacity, etc. You say only 200 people come here. So that literally comes down to about 20 per day. Even less than that, yes. 15 per day. Is it idealistic to have such a elaborate platform to bring in 15 people per day?
The government of Majoli has funded and taken a fund of 380 crores for the tourism of Majoli. They have separated this fund to promote in the tourism of Majoli, but no such tourism proposal have been created yet. So if this project gets approved by the government, they would only promote the Majoli and tourism in it. So my main focus to construct was this only, because the government is appreciating and taking some concerns to promote tourism by creating a fund, and 380 crores is not a less fund. So if this project gets succeeded, it can change the life of Majoli people.
Yeah, but it could have been done in a little more careful manner than a very elaborate spending. You got library and things like that here. I'm sure is library something that people will come to for this space more than something else. You could have looked at what are the possibilities in your program making, that what would people come here for and how would I propagate tourism. Maybe library is not one among them, because nobody's coming here for research and things like that, right? My only worry is 10, 12 people are coming per day. That has to scale up to some 300, 400 people per day to make this sustainable, right? It's a big task. It's a huge task. So you'll have to do plans to sort of orient yourself to thinking, right? Okay. Have you done studies to indicate what your form orientation of the buildings should be? Because I don't know what the rainfall here is.
Yeah.
What is the rainfall here?
It's approx 2,203 mm per month.
That's a huge amount.
Yeah, that's why I have.
But your roof forms are all right for that?
Yeah. I have taken the roofs, like if I show you the construction.
No, because the roof forms are only pyramidal. They don't sort of allow for the rain to fall out.
So these roofs are created to, it would come from here and it would fall in the landscape. So the whole platform is raised. So if they go in the landscape, it would just consume the water. And I have a nearby river. So if it is, the water is being channelized through the plumbing system that I have shown.
No, your rain is not falling 90 degrees from the sky.
Yeah.
Right? Rain's falling from all angles.
Yeah.
I'm only asking have you considered that the rain is going to come like this too?
Yes.
Right? It doesn't. Your geometry doesn't. So that's why I'm asking if you have considered that. Have you looked at what the forms of buildings that are persistent in, in this area, and do they also sort of, are you reflecting that form to try and that you stop rain from entering your buildings? It's only an observation, right?
Okay.
Thank you.
Hello. Congratulations on being selected. I would have been happy if you could have given a regional connect map, because you're talking about tourism and where are the tourism centers right now located and how far it would be, so that we could know the circuit and...
Yeah. Actually, I have shown some of the tourism spots, like Guwahati is situated here, and the main Kaziranga National Park and Jorhat. These are the main areas that have tourism in Assam. So I have shown where Majoli is situated between them.
Okay, so that's potentially likely to. Okay, now for some time, if we just don't see that there's a project or something, do you really think this pristine environment wherein people have rice, they have their farming, they do fishing, they have everything there.
Yeah.
So for that society, do you really want to get in people influx there and tourists coming there, flocking in there, and maybe disturbing the environment?
I think they need this because they have been forced to leave the island day by day because it is depleting. They have been destroying their houses. The disasters have been destroying their houses from the past 30 or 40 years. So it is difficult for them. Well, like when I went there and I talked to them, the only thing I got to know from them is like they need certain strategies and schemes that could protect their houses. So I think tourism is the one most famous thing that can generate revenue and livelihood. It would give the opportunity of employment to them also. Like beyond construction, beyond cultivation, they would be having something to get earned by for their livelihood.
Okay. So you were talking about fishing is very prominent there, so people might be having a very different cultural connect with the water which is flowing there. So how have you incorporated that with your design?
I have given the main waterfront development also, like people could use their space as by sitting there and observing how fishing has been done, and the safari point is given that for that also. Like if they really need to see how people live in the actual, the safari points have been created, e-rickshaws have been provided, they can have a visit to the actual villages. It is nearby Kambalwari village, the site, so it is the most populated village of Majoli. So people, you can, through safari, you can visit and see how people work in their day-to-day life. And also I have given the ferry point that would give you a basic experience of how people travel daily from Majoli to Johrat and for their basic requirements.
Okay, thank you.
So a little continuation of what she's trying to say is, so we assume tourism is going to bring in a lot of money. Quoting an example which is very close to my home, I'm talking about Chhattisgarh.
Yeah.
You know, it also is a tribal area, and you know the government is pouring in a lot of money in name of tourism. And I have seen the transition and how that beautiful little ecosystem has now, you know, drastically converted with lots of, infrastructure and buildings coming up and a greed that has developed on all scales. So, tourism is not going to help the locals. But anyways, coming to your site plan, I see a very compact, introvert kind of a development which is not trying to help the locals or, you know, interact with the locals or communicate with the locals tangibly or intangibly in any ways. It's like a campus which is so closed and so alien in its character that I can't see any connect with, if you say that, you've studied the local settlement pattern and you would see a very organic kind of a development. You said there are organic roads and everything, but when I'm looking at this is a very urban development and very dense in its fabric. So my major concern here is, tourism could be, those 200 people coming, living with the farmers there, being part of their family, paying them, eating out of their, eating with them, with their, having their regular meals, paying them. That would have economically strengthened that probably. And those 200 were already many. So having one campus like that, with, these parking lots of for so many cars, and then so many people staying, like a army camp. So I don't know how is it going to help your concerns?
My major concept for taking it compact was because as I said, I had to make this whole center resilient for the flood and earthquake. So the platforms have been raised. So if I would given the longer platforms, I don't know if they would have survived heavy rains. I know like it could have been constructed in a way with heavy materials, but all the materials that I have used is taking in fact the matter that they resist the flood, and for the spaces that are being compact, like they like houses that are closely connected. So when the villages, they are divided into certain villages, and when I visited the Kambalwari village, it is divided into certain clusters. So to form that clusters, I have created some compact, and the reason for the compactness for the circulation is that only, to create make it more resilient. And for the question that you said for the tourism, I think everything has two faces. Like tourism has negative impact and positive impact. It is just how we take the certain process. But I think certain amount of tourism can benefit these people. Thank you.
We will be picking the next.
Now done with the first session of today. We'll proceed after lunch. The lunch for the dignitaries have been arranged in PIHM restaurant, and for the participants, it's in boys hostel mess. Deepak is the student coordinator. He'll lead you the way. So I'll request everyone to kindly proceed for lunch. We'll join you shortly after that.
Please announce a time to reassemble.
We just have half an hour to 45 minutes. We'll come back after 45 minutes.
We will
take
meet
a lunch
back
break
at
of
2 o'clock. All the presenters, please be here back at 2 o'clock.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. The next presenter will be picked at 2 o'clock, so all presenters should be available at that time.